mind. So, this training is conducted by KPOPartners, right? As you see here, it's a sister company of Predactica. If you go to predactica.com, I can give a quick overview of our parent company, which is a AI ML based product company, which we starting almost 2017, 3 to 4 years back. We have a couple of ML products in the market, which is one of them is end-to-end data science platform that I see few folks are here from data science background, so that's a very intuitive cloud-based data pre-processing, data modeling, data publishing. I won't say data, right? Model publishing platform for enterprise. I would say enterprise. Enterprise systems. So that's one of the product we have. We have also NLP-based customer feedback analytics product, which is completely NLP-based product. We have a third product we just released, and we are engaging with one of the customers. In fact, we just started. That's the ethical AI. You must have all heard about responsible AI, ethical AI, right? All the explainable AI. That's the another third product we just released, and it's getting released to the product, released to the market. In fact, we are getting engaged with another one client, starting with this week or next week. So our company started as a product company. In the last couple of years, like based on our background, we have expanded to the service area, right? Since Vijay, myself, and our other co-founders, as well as our folks, those who help us out, right? They're all coming from deep technology background, which have like big data, cloud, AI, ML, right? We wanted to expand in this area as well. And as I said, I have been training in big data since 2014, 2015, but we never got into expanding as a service, as a service until 2 years back. Okay. As you see here, 2 cloud-based ML products. So of course now it is 3, and around 40 AWS big data consultants. That's a very high level we have currently within our company. We have folks both in US as well as in India, both from product team as well as to support our consultants, our service sector as well. We have folks in India as well. Okay. So 4 cloud big data experts, myself. In fact, now we have 5. Myself, Vijay, and 3 others. They will be working with you next 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. Starting with enablement that is starting this weekend, as well as people those who are getting into the placement will be helping with all the projects, case studies, interview preparation, all that stuff. So that's about the company. I can I probably don't want to go, but I can quickly look. So the web page of our company, this is predactica.com, as you see here, right? There are 3 products here at this point you see here, right? The second company, which is our service company, this is KPOPartners. So both are part of the same company. Thus, we have just separated our service sector from our product. That's the only difference. Any questions so far with respect to our company overview, or any questions around it? All right, that's good. In terms of our, again, I will not take a long time. I know it's the evening time. I think we should be done in another 30 minutes. So our class, since everyone is pretty much stopped at home, we used to have in-class sessions earlier, but because of the COVID, we are doing this online. As you see here, these are some of the key features of our training. Of course, it's instructor-led training, and we will have 4 to myself, Vijay, and 4 other instructors will be involved throughout the 4 to 6 weeks of enablement program, right? And this is a cloud foundation and data engineering program, which will build you as a full stack engineer, starting with foundational AWS skill sets. And we focus more on the data engineering side, starting with language like Python, Hadoop expertise. Then we go to the data engineering part, right, which is Azure specific data engineering part. And on top of that, I'll go into the details of what are the different course material we do cover. And apart from that, every class or most of the services that we cover are associated with labs, which we'll do in the class as well as outside. Okay? Because our goal, as Vijay said, our model is not just to teach you theory, but rather to expose you to the actual industry, use cases that is being probably, being practiced around the industry, right? So we come from that experience. So every teaching, every class, or every topic will be associated with real life examples, and we'll even talk about the real life challenges, how we deal with it, right? So that's the way, that's the approach we have followed. And so that by the time the class or the session, or I would say the program finishes, you are more accustomed or more ready for the real life job, or the real life taking up the real life work, right? Apart from that, I know many folks join this program to get to do a career change, right? Or to join a actual as a consulting agreement, a consulting engagement, or to join our company as a product engineer, right? So this is where a separate preparation happens. We'll go over that later on, or people those are interested, we work with them separately to make them ready to the in the marketplace, because not everybody is here to get to for a career change, right? So but many folks do come here for career change or for a new job, right? And that's where me and Vijay and our other folks work closely along with you, right, to make you ready for the marketplace, which requires some different way of preparation, as you all know, right? Learning is one thing, but getting you ready for the marketplace through the interview, how to narrate the, preparing your resume in the right way, how to narrate your, the things that you have written on the resume to the, in the interview, right? How to talk about the challenges in the project that you have done, right? Or any other, like the things like Devops, right? To introduce you to the Devops part, the day-to-day stuff, right? So those aspects of the interview preparation we cover in a very detailed fashion, in parallel with the enablement program that goes starting this week. Okay, and this happens, the interview preparation starts almost a month, 4 weeks after we get into the class, so that you have at least some background. Okay, and we have been very, very successful in that program. And as of last batch itself, I would say, like, out of 7-8 folks, we were able to place 5 folks right when the program ended, right before the class even ended. 3 of the folks, they had the job in their hand. So so we have very proven program that way. With respect to the class itself, right, all the recordings, all the classes were video recorded, and if you want to look at the classes, go through it again, right, it will be available to you within 24 hours. Every class will be also associated with the class notes and the the material that you will be using for your personal study of the topic. Okay. Again, as you see, our new batch starts June 26th, this weekend, Saturday. We'll talk about the details, what we are going to start with. And here our phone number and contacts. Okay. And this course will also help you with the Azure Solution Architect exam, which many of you probably are, have intention to go for. Based on our experience with both AWS and Azure, the demands are so high, even nobody even asks you for certification, but it's good to have certification if you want to. Okay. Any questions on this slide? Otherwise, we'll go to the next slide. Vijay, you want to add anything here? All right.
So see, in this program, I think there are multiple phases. The first phase is making you ready to work in a cloud data modernization project as a data engineer. That is the primary focus. Second thing is, as Radhikant mentioned, even if you know the concept, you should be able to explain in a convincing way. Articulation is also very important. So that's a preparation phase. Once you're on project, the third is support. We want to ensure that you succeed in your project with the customer. Then only it is a success for us, right? Because you are building a brand for us. So we want to ensure that you have the proper support system so that you can succeed in your job. So we have a team back in India who can support you. Doesn't mean that we are going to write the code for you, but we will help you to solve the issues. We will guide you in the right direction whenever you are stuck. Okay, so it doesn't stop once the training is over. Our team is there to support you always, and other employees also will share their experience, architecture, and all, right. So we'll have a monthly session with our employees, all the other employees working in different projects, to share their experience, thoughts, architecture, everything. So it's a kind of a collaborative learning, ongoing learning program. Okay, it doesn't stop in 4 to 6 weeks. I just want to add that.
Other thing, I know many people who come here, hey, do you guys help with interview? Somebody else is going to take interview for us. We said no. We don't do any lip syncing, this, that, right? So we prepare you very well so that I have seen people, those can't even talk in the first session. By the time the interview sessions are ready, they can just, talk for 30 minutes. So you'll see that development in yourself as well. So nothing to worry. We have seen all kinds of candidates, and we have seen how they have, grown to become confident on the interview. And that is extremely critical, as Vijay said. Learning the concept or doing the lab doesn't prepare you for the interview. There are few key things, right? Those you need to be. Vijay, I think it's a background noise. Is it you or? So, those are some of the key preparations we work with you so that you are ready and confident in the interview as well. Okay. I would say that's one of the key differences from any other company, because we are a product-based company. We are a technology-heavy company. We know what we are talking about. Okay. So that's the difference you will see. All right.
Any questions so far? Some people may have questions like, hey, I have a lot of break in my career. Will I be able to do the course? Can I succeed as a data engineer? Feel free to ask any kind of questions in this forum.
Yeah, I have a question. This is Will.
Yeah, I will. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is, how often do we have the class? And
we'll get there. In the last slide we have.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
But it's a little intensive. So, all right. Okay. So next slide, I will just go over very quickly. I know I have myself and Vijay. We have already introduced ourselves, and we have a couple of more folks. Saurabh Kale, who will be with them. Again, all of our here you see that minimum 15 years of experience, right? We are all architects, all four of us. So, different phases of the course as it proceeds, we'll be covering different parts. I will cover that. For example, to start with this weekend, I will be starting with big data, Hadoop component, right? Starting with Python, then getting to, standard Hadoop ecosystem, starting with, we'll go over that, right? And what all components we'll cover, right? Then we'll have Saurabh come in. He will talk about the, cloud foundation and all that, right? Then we'll have our Padmaka will come in. He will talk about the data engineering part. Vijay and myself will be working with you in parallel for the folks who will be getting to the market, right? We'll myself and Vijay, we prepare you for the interviews. So that's a complete separate set of sessions alongside. So this is how it is organized. It has been, working out pretty well for last several sessions. So we exactly know how to execute. Okay. All right. Again, very high level, right? As you see here, right? These are the full stack enablement program for the Azure. Azure Foundation, Platform Foundation. That's what we start with, right? We'll cover the sequence of courses in a bit. But these are the key components or key features we'll be covering, starting with Azure Platform Foundation, Azure Data Engineering, Devops, things like how to, push your code, do the version management, how to, deploy the code on dev, QA, and prod, those kind of environment, right? And to understand the concept, understand the process around it, right? So that you can talk in the interview as well as you can do it at the work, do your job at the work, right? Solution architecture and data flow. This is key for you to be confident in the interview so that you'll be able to explain your project, and right, in terms of how you build the data pipeline. How did you move from ingestion all the way to data processing to maybe reporting or machine learning, whatever it is, right? Using the services that is natively available within the cloud, Azure, right? Could be Azure data factory, it could be Azure Databricks, whatever it is, right? So that we go very in detail, cover quite a few use cases around it, right? And we cover the data lake architecture, and we also cover the reporting architecture, typical ETL pipeline, both of them. Okay. All right. So any questions on this slide? Again, what you see here is a full stack Azure data engineering course, starting with platform foundation all the way to data engineering, Devops, and solutioning with data flow. Okay, so that's the kind of key what you call learnings that you will be going through in the next 4 to 6 weeks. All right, these are some details about, again, it's not everything, but just to give a flavor or feel of what things will be covered, right? Starting with Python, as you see here, right? You may or may not have Python background, but if you have Python, great. In cloud, right? As you said, in cloud, whether it's Azure or even AWS, right? Python is very popular around data engineering as well as machine learning. I know some of you folks are from data science background. I'm pretty sure you have been using Python as one of your major languages, right? So we'll go through the Python foundation and how you can write Python programs at the end of this Python session. Okay. Then we quickly go into big data. There's some background noise. What is that exactly? Something. Color 2, is it? I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, now it's better. So on the big data side, right? Big data is a very large ecosystem. We are not covering every component of it, right? We'll focus on the stuff which is required for this course, and not just for this course, for you to get your job done, right? Like for example, you see here it has been kind of just we are covering few important components, as you see, starting with post big data ecosystem overview, HDFS, Hadoop distributed file system, MapReduce processing framework, and we go into straight to the Hive and Hive query, which is the database on big data, right, on Hadoop. And the most important component that we focus on Hadoop is Apache Spark. You might have probably heard about it, right? Apache Spark is heavily used in data engineering as well as in machine learning, right? Whether you are writing Spark ML, building your feature engineering, whatever you in the data science area, right? It's heavily used since it's a distributed architecture, right? So we do cover Hive query. We hope you have some good at least the foundational background on any ANSI SQL, because SQL we are not, that's pretty much a mandatory skill set everywhere you go nowadays, right? It's like a it's like the basic requirement, right? So then we really go very deep dive. We do deep dive sessions on PySpark, primarily since we are Python based course curriculum. Okay. Then last thing is how to build pipelines with PySpark, right? And you'll be seeing when we'll be dealing with Databricks, right? Databricks is nothing but a commercial version of PySpark or Spark, right? Hold on 1 second, please. Okay, sorry. So we'll be going very deep on the Databricks, as you see here on the Azure tech stack, right? Azure Databricks here. And within the Databricks, we'll go very deep into creating notebooks using Spark, using Python and PySpark. Although it has option to build your notebooks using Scala as well, but we are focused more on Python side of it. Again, if you are good with Scala, you are coming from Java background, it will not take very long to get acquainted with the Scala-based pipeline. Actually, it won't take that long. We have folks who got trained in Python-based, PySpark, but they quickly moved to Scala within a couple of weeks. So not a big deal. Okay. So on the Azure cloud, as you see here, we go starting with the foundation all the way, storage, then your monitoring services, then the data factory, which is your orchestration and ETL services, Synapse, which is the data warehouse, right? Then we go to ADF, your data factory, right? And finally we go to Databricks, which is the main, again, Databricks can work with any cloud, but Azure Databricks has been very popular, right? And this is what we cover along with the data factory, how to build a data pipeline, starting with ingestion, right? Starting with ingesting the data to cloud on Azure Blob Storage or Azure Data Lake Storage, and processing with Databricks compute, and then orchestrating with ADF, Azure Data Factory, right? All the way, putting the data back into Synapse or any SQL warehouse. So this is the typical pipeline we cover. And then don't worry about the whether languages or terminology, but once you get used to it, it will all come back live. Okay? Then as you see, Devops, that's another key component. You cannot join any or become a data engineer, right, without knowledge of Devops, right? You may or may not have background on it. If you are working on cloud or any development platform, probably you have already exposure to it, but that's something we would like to cover. And what happens on a day-to-day execution of this kind of data pipeline, typical development lifecycle, what happens, right? We'll cover in detail as well. Coming to the third pillar, right? First pillar is the more, your foundation, Python and big data. Second pillar is the main cloud. Third pillar is more, getting some use cases and doing a project, right? This is where what I was talking about, doing, ingesting real data, data files, so creating data lake services, doing the data transformation, data curation, creating the different layers in the data lake, then pushing that to data warehouse like Synapse, right, or SQL warehouse to build your what we call the semantic layer to do reporting, maybe on with what you call Tableau reporting, right, any other reporting that we could do on the cloud, right. So that's where your kind of all the learnings will come together to build, so that you will be able to build the data pipeline and you will be able to talk about it in your interview, right? And that gives you a lot of confidence that yes, now I can really ingest the data, I can process it, I can push it to a data warehouse for the reporting consumption. There are many other use cases, as you see here. A lot of data scientists are there here as well, right? I mean, as you all know, right, machine learning, AI, and analytics has expanded heavily around every industry. And the same pipeline, as when you become a data engineer, you can even serve or work with the data scientist. I work in my field also. Pretty much every project we do on cloud, we are working with the data scientist as a downstream consumer of the data, right? And you are the key people or key data engineers who will build the data for them. Many times, I know some folks are here to learn the data engineering. Many times, and the data scientists are not good with building the data pipeline. They have to depend on engineers like you to build that, right? Right. So anyway, so my summary, my key points, what I'm trying to say, right? Cloud is evolving, and it's a mandatory skill set for the next 10-20 years. I mean, there is no second thought about it. Now, coming to Python, it's a great language which can fit into any environment, right? And you see that, right? Big data, standard, what you call distributed architecture along with Spark has been very popular in the last 10 years. Yes, things are changing quite a bit, but those are still popular, and that will give you a very solid foundation in terms of data engineer. Now, coming to cloud, once you have all of these, I think you can fit into many industries, irrespective of the domain, and it should be able to serve for at least next 5 to 10 years. It could build a good career for you guys. So that's what we are kind of intending, and as I said, right, many folks have been benefited. I think I am pretty sure if you follow the our curriculum, that will help you out as well. Okay, I'll just pause here. If you have any questions on this curriculum, otherwise we'll very quickly go to, I think, the last slide. Not much. So that's the last one. More slide is there. Any questions on the curriculum itself?
Ratikant, this is Preeta. I have a question here.
Yeah.
So for data transformations, or any just general pre-processing, not very detailed, do we not use Azure ML workspace, machine learning? Because data transformations can also be done in machine learning, right? Within Azure machine learning.
Yeah, so Preeta, that is a good question, but you're talking, I think you have a data science background, right? That is for the data preparation. That's for this train data preparation and all, right? This one, in a typical commercial project, the services used for any kind of data ingestion, data extraction, processing is done by combination of Azure Data Factory and Databricks. These are the combination being widely used for data engineering related activities. The one you're talking about, the ML preparation, that's a different tool set.
Okay.
That is only for a primitive data processing. This is a very complex data processing. We use these combinations.
So maybe Preeta, again, I'm not well aware of the Azure ML. Probably it has libraries to do specific to feature engineering, right? I believe those are the specific libraries that are there, right? Is that my right assumption?
Well, not only it's not even getting very deep into feature engineering, just basic data cleaning also.
Oh, okay.
Like, removing duplicates, cleaning missing values and all of that. So it has the capability of handling Python packages within Azure ML space. So the reason I brought that is, we are not even getting into machine learning modeling or, feature engineering. But let's say I have a data factory pipeline, but I'm trying to ingest the data into data lake. But from data lake, I'm trying to take it to machine learning workspace, do some transformation and ingest that data back into some storage. So, I wanted to know how, if we'll cover that portion within the pipeline too.
Yeah, what has happened,
all
right?
the basic connections.
Absolutely. So what has happened since we are covering Databricks, right? I know Databricks has been Spark and Python libraries many times. All the deduplications, all that's data wrangling kind of activities. What you're talking about, right? Data wrangling and fusion can even be done within the Databricks, which has a very good set of libraries within the Spark. But since it's a cloud, I know there are a lot of options. We'll see whether it's easy to just use it and show it. We'll look at it, and if it's possible, quickly show the data pipeline using Azure ML. We'll look at that, whether we can include that as part of the curriculum. But it can very well be accomplished using Databricks Spark library as well, which can be done. But since probably you are using at your workplace, I guess, right? So we'll see whether we can include that or quickly do your overview on that.
Okay, thank you so much, Vijay.
Any other questions?
Hey, I have a question. It seems like a lot of people are coming from different expertise. I'm wondering if you are confident in like one area, are you able to skip that portion?
Sorry, I didn't get the last. So you coming from different, you mean the people are coming from different background?
Yeah, so I'm saying like if you're confident in one area, like for example, if you say you think you're good at Python, would you be able to skip that and go to the next one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you're saying if you're confident in Python, whether you can step up and go to the next one, is that your question?
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely. So again, we don't expect people to be expert in all these areas before they come, right? As long as if you ask me what are the prerequisites for this course, that's what you are asking. I would say, right, good SQL background, right, understanding of data, right, as in tables, database, that will be very helpful because no matter how complex or how I would say wide this technology become, but still the SQL is not going away, right? That gives a good data concept. And coming to the language side, right? A good language like Python. These two things, as long as you have, I think rest you can pretty much learn here, right? You can pretty much learn. And again, if you don't even have Python, you have done any programming language in the past, right? It could be C, it could be Java, could be C++, could be anything, right? That will definitely help you to get the grasp of any new language. Because if you look at any language, right, it's all involves the same kind of constructs, whether declaring a variable, conditional, loop, all that stuff, right? But again, definitely, if you have any language and language background and SQL background, the rest of the things, it will be very easy. You can catch up. Not a big deal.
My question was a little bit different. I'm saying, like, for example, like if you know Spark, right? Like Apache Spark architecture, can you skip that and just go to the next one?
Okay. Whether you can skip one and go to the next. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Absolutely. I mean, if you don't want Spark, for example, only the problem or difficulty will be in the Databricks. For example, within the Azure, if you want a Azure Cloud Foundation, storage, monitoring, Synapse, all those to Azure Data Factory, you don't need, for example, Spark, all those things, you don't need it. But when it goes to Databricks, right? Although you can write notebooks using pure Python as well there, right? But we could, that's okay. You can build a Databricks job using pure Python and even SQL and run the jobs on Databricks. You can do that. But only plus point is learning Spark is, using the distributed architecture of Databricks using PySpark. Otherwise, you're not utilizing the what you call the distributed architecture, right? So yes, I mean, you can do that, but you could probably, that aspect of Databricks you may not be able to follow if you don't know Spark. Other than that, I think it should be all good.
Okay.
Again, it will not see. It's just only Databricks. So Databricks supports different types of notebooks, like the where you are building your data pipeline. It has Python, it has SQL, it has Scala, it has PySpark, right? If you don't know, if you know SQL and SQL and Python, you could still build your notebook jobs and you can execute it, right? Using Data Factory and all that. So nothing will stop you. So hope that helps, right? Again, these are all independent courses, independent modules, but they have some relationship because, at the end, you bring it all together to solve a use case, solve a business problem, right? That's the whole goal, right? Again, right? So, any specific reason? Is it because you cannot attend any part of the class or something, or?
No. It was just because, like, I was thinking, like, if some people are like confident in Python, or some people are confident in like their the Azure skills, can they, or like their Git, would they be able to just like skip this tutorial because they already think they know it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. I mean, as long as you can connect the dots at the end, right? If your goal is to build data pipeline, right, and be a data engineer, I know whether you have done it yourself or somehow you can connect the dots, right? Starting from data ingestion all the way to building a pipeline. That's your goal, right? That's our goal as well. So we'll tell you, right? Hey, this is something maybe you will need it down the road. That's something we'll definitely mention. Okay.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Now, coming to the last slide, right? I know we talked about, what's the timeline, right? We're starting this weekend, as you all know. You may not know, actually. So Saturday will be the first class. I know next weekend is a long weekend. Probably whole America is going on vacation this week, probably next week. Now that, many vaccinations has been done. I don't know, that's what's happening. We'll see. So far, last 1 year, everybody has been home. So we are continuing through the vacations as well. But if we don't have to do it, we can skip it next week. Skip the next week. So as you see here, right, it's a very intensive course. I think the timeline is so. Okay, let's look at the timings. Okay, again, so if you see the timings, right, we have weekends, weekdays and weekends. So we cover almost 5 days a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. CST, and Saturday, Sunday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. 1 p.m. Can change it a little bit here and there, but typically we are trying to cover at least 2 to 6 plus 8, 14 hours a week. And so that way, right, it's we there is not a huge gap, but same time we do expect, we are all pretty engaged, and I know it's a little bit sometimes intensive, but that's the whole goal, because we do see, we challenge students, and it has been pretty effective that way as well. So right. So that's the kind of timeline in terms of timings. But this is the, let me go up. Okay. But this is how. This is not exactly like 1 week, 2 weeks. This is kind of this is kind of laid out this way. But we do feel like, right, a Python and Big Data Foundation we can cover in 1 week, so which is like 14 hours, right? And the Azure Foundation, which is the as you said, right, 1 week. Where we focus the most is the data engineering part, as you see, 2 weeks. I'm sorry. So then your Azure project interview preparation, that to continue 2 weeks, right? So total 6 weeks, right? And many people or many students, those who are getting to the job market, of course they will be pretty much ready at the end of 6 weeks. We have seen that, and we have been successfully been able to place even at that time. Yes, it's a little bit stressed out, but I think that's the way, that's the model we have worked with, and it has been very successful and very effective. So a little bit challenging, but we just think, hey, let's get the job done. That's the way we work. So, any questions so far? Any questions on the timing and all that, right? I know some people might say, hey, this time what?
Yeah, the time is quite good. On Wednesdays, usually when I get off work, I might just be getting off work around that 7.
Okay.
I will try to be there, but it can be a little difficult sometimes.
And all the videos, they are recorded. And if you miss something, you come back next class. The instructor can explain and repeat. It's not like a hard and fast rule. Hey, once it's covered, it's covered. But there could be revisions. Specifically for folks who are getting to the interview preparation, many of this stuff is again repeated.
Okay.
Because you go through special preparation. Vijay, you are trying to say something?
Yeah, so after each class, you'll get 3 different types of materials. One is the recorded session of the video. The complete session is recorded and it will be shared as a YouTube video. Second thing is the instructor will present a deck about the key topics, key concepts, everything. Third thing is during the class, they will have some class notes. Question answers will be captured as notes. So all these 3 materials is always available for you to review and understand things. Yeah.
That's good. Thank you.
And as I said, right, folks, those were, going all the way to placement, right? Right, to get to the market, right? Many of these topics are taught in parallel in a different pattern, different approach, because now you'll be working towards getting to the interview and clearing the interview. So the approach gets little different. So the training is more to observe the concepts, do lots of hands-on, so that you are comfortable with the technology itself. Now, how to put it together to create a narrative for interview, that's a different kind of skill, right? So that art we teach it in a separate way, so that you know how to talk. That's the another. I know it's more of an art than science. So that's we teach separate. Sorry, okay, there is some. Let me see. I see the chart. Something came up. Do you have lab works? Not every day, but probably not in the starting class or after that, right? For example, Python has a lab, right? PySpark on the Spark session, we have a comprehensive lab. Then Databricks, all the different components within the Azure, primarily where you can really build some something demonstrable code. There we have lab. Okay. Right. And at the end, right, when you do the project, then you have to build the whole end-to-end pipeline. Starting with ingestion all the way writing maybe PySpark code, then orchestrating through ADF. That's the complete project where we will be combination of coding as well as cloud configuration. So that's very clear. Okay. Any other questions? So
Hi, I have a question. This is Hema.
yeah,
Yeah, you earlier you mentioned about the support when we get a job, and what kind of support we can get, how we can get. I have doubt on that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So I can give an example also. Today, one of our employees working for a customer, they were stuck with one use case, which is from Databricks using an API, how can they extract data and create a Parquet file? That is use case. He was stuck. So we have a WhatsApp tech forum kind of thing. He posted there, and one of our experts immediately responded, and he had a 30-minute session with that person. It got resolved. Just give an example.
pretty much within 2 hours, his problem is solved. So we have a WhatsApp group. We post your question. Our experts are there, both in US time as well as India time, right? Someone will respond, and we have a GoToMeeting link. Like, hey, let's get on the GoToMeeting and let's look at it.
Yeah, as I said, we don't write. No one will write the code for you. We have to write the code, but we'll help you to do that. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. So lab, yeah, and there's a question in the chat, Suresh. Yes, you have a lab work every day. Yes, you have lab work during the class also, after the class also.
Any other questions before we break? Again, the intention of this demonstration was just to give a overview of the course curriculum, and more than that, the model of the training, right? What it is, what's the intention, and how we kind of walk you through the whole next 4 to 6 weeks to get you ready for the marketplace, right? That's our main goal, and it has been pretty effective. Last several, it's not something we are experimenting with you, right? So it's pretty I would say battle-tested approach. So.
Yeah, so just add a couple of things. In our previous batches, we have had a wide variety of candidates join, right? People with 20 years of experience in Oracle DBA learned some cloud database called Snowflake, started working. Some people are with zero experience. They also got they able to complete the course successfully. They started working in a project. There are people, majority of the folks are with a lot of break in their career. They work for a couple of years initially, then they move to US, never got a chance to get into the, when I say gap of more than 10 years. So they also attended the class, they also started working. What's the difference? The amount of hard work they put, okay? Obviously, a person who has been working for 15 years, it will be easy for that person to pick it up and start working. Whereas people with a break, it is doable, it is working well. What's the difference? They had to put a lot of effort. So it's all based on how much kind of effort you are ready to put. That is only game change. Otherwise, it is time tested. People are started working, and we are getting most of the candidates through reference only. Okay. So just want to give heads up. Feel free to ask any questions in this forum, or you can text me or Ratikant, or send an email. We will respond anytime.
Quick question again. This is where more often analytics is a kind of remote jobs. Do we have some of these data engineering jobs as remote as well?
Yes, now all of the jobs are remote only, right?
Okay.
Yeah, although things are opening up, but at least for now, I think many jobs will still be remote through the rest of the year. Although offices are opening up, I think it will be on and off. Yeah, you can expect, and since this COVID pattern has been established, maybe some companies going forward will allow people to work offline. I mean, work, what you call remote.
Remotely.
Not every company, but I hear news just hey, banks are, they want people to be in office and all that. But I think many other companies they will, because the efficiency hasn't gone down. In fact, we are working harder in remote, right? We are working starting from 8 all the way to 5:30. I can't even get off get my launch even, right? So I think working harder when it's remote. So I think companies do realize nothing. There is no less productivity with remote. In fact, more productivity is coming. So I believe that will continue. I think as a pattern. I think in general, I think so. And that to go cloud, right? Cloud, you can pretty much work from anywhere. I mean, anything you can work from anywhere nowadays, but anywhere. I'm just saying. In fact, there are a lot of remote jobs with cloud nowadays. Even before COVID came, I used to see a lot of COVID even. So, all right. Any other questions?
Hi, this is Suresh. I have a question. It is only for I'm an H1B visa. Does this work for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, it will work for you. You are working currently working with some company who is holding your H1. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
I mean, we can discuss that with respect to how we take up the job and all that. So, but if you are willing to, we can discuss that separately. How you want to deal with your immigration. But if you want to skip the training or you want to switch, those are other discussion we can have. We can have separately. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Otherwise, we are pretty much done for the session today. And and I will send out communications to all of you through email, and we'll let you know the details for enrollment. And if you all, whoever confirm in next couple of days, we'll send you the details how to start the join the course on starting on this Saturday, which I will be starting with Python and continuing with big data right through the next week. And if we don't hold any class next weekend, which is a long weekend, maybe not, but you'll have enough time to practice a lot of stuff and get a good what you call feeling about the course and all that, right? Things then coming week we'll start with the cloud foundation, then we'll get to the data engineering, followed by a project and interview preparation. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we can break for the day. Thank you so much. Unless there is any last question.
Yeah. Thank you all for joining. Hope you enjoy this session and you will have a good journey in our cloud program. Talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much and good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
All right. Thanks, everyone.